too, Eleanor cried. Why, Nicky's had invitations to come and live with some of the richest girls at school. Lady Honoria Bartholomew's asked her. Her parents have a townhouse on Park Lane, and her father's an earl, the Earl of Farrelly, and not a measly viscount like Papa. Good Lord! But Lady Sheridan was not, as one might have thought, commenting on the grandness of Lady Honoria Bartholomew's lineage. I can't imagine what Lady Farrelly could be thinking, inviting a girl like Nicola to stay during her own daughter's first season out. The woman must be mad. Nicola, hearing this, felt her eyes suddenly fill with tears. She had always rather fancied that kindly, comfortable Lady Sheridan looked upon her as a second daughter. So why on earth would she ever say such a thing? A girl like Nicola! Eleanor was quick to rush to her friend's defence. Why, Mamma, what a thing to say! For heaven's sake, Eleanor, Lady Sheridan said in her no-nonsense way, I only meant that Lady Farrelly must not have the sense God gave a goose to invite a girl as pretty as Nicola to stay at a time when her own daughter will be angling for a husband. Nicola realised that what she'd thought to be an insult of the worst kind had actually turned out to be rather a nice compliment. Feeling a rush of affection for her friend's mother, she leapt from the tasseled stool and ran to embrace her. "Oh, Lady Sheridan," Nicola cried, "you are so wonderful! You almost make me wish I was staying with you after all." Lady Sheridan, looking a bit startled, nevertheless returned Nicola's hug, patting her fondly on the shoulder. "You are a sweet girl, Nicola," Lady Sheridan admitted. "I think you've done a world of good for Eleanor. Thanks to you, and Madame, of course, she's grown a good bit less silly. I believe it was because of your influence that she finally put her mind to her studies." "Mamma!" Eleanor protested. "I am hardly silly. Why, I received better marks than anyone in the entire school this term, with the exception of Nicola." But she was soon distracted by a noise outside her bedchamber window, and quickly forgot her outrage in her eagerness to report. "Oh, look, Nicky, it's him! The god himself! He did come, after all, just as Lady Honoria said he would." Nicola released Lady Sheridan at once and rushed to the window. "Oh!" Eleanor whispered so as not to be overheard, for it was, after all, a warm spring day, and all the windows at Madame's had been thrown open. "Look at him, Nicky! Have you ever seen such a vision?" Nicola had to admit that she had not. At least, not since the last time young Lord Sebastian had come to call upon his sister, the Lady Honoria, a fellow boarding student at the seminary. "He has the veriest golden hair I ever saw," Eleanor declared in a low voice. "And look at those shoulders." Nicola, gazing down at the tall young man, remembered Lord Sebastian's eyes, as blue, she knew, as her own, and her own had been compared, by a few of the more imaginative girls, to the stone in the sapphire brooch Madame wore on special occasions such as today. Blue as the sky overhead, Lord Sebastian Bartholomew's eyes had looked, the first time she had gazed into them. And that had been at the school's last recitation day, when Lady Honoria's brother, down from Oxford to visit his only sister, had complimented Nicola after her performance of Walter Scott's Marmion. "Miss Sparks," Lord Sebastian had said, "how I envy Lochinvar, if only for having his name formed by so sweet a pair of lips." She had received the compliment without a word, only a curtsy, and she feared a blush. Eleanor was quite right. The man was like a god, an absolute Apollo, or even an Adonis. And, like Apollo, the sun god, Lord Sebastian seared Nicola's soul. Just a single glance. That was all it took. And here Lord Sebastian was again, and this time Nicola was determined to do more than curtsy. No, this time she would impress the god with her wit and poise. See if she didn't. "I wonder if he heard your Lady of the Lake at the recitation this morning," mused Eleanor. "If he did, he must certainly love you now, for no one can hear you recite Scott, Nicky, and not love you." Nicola was fervently hoping this was true, just as a decidedly unfeminine voice from behind the two girls demanded, "Who loves Nicky?" Both Nicola and Eleanor spun around. "Nathaniel, what can you be thinking?" Lady Sheridan scolded her eldest son, "entering your sister's bedchamber without knocking first." The door was open. Eleanor's older brother, the Honourable Nathaniel Sheridan, flopped onto a nearby settee. "Who loves Nicky?" he repeated. Nicola, abashed, flung a look of appeal in Lady Sheridan's direction. Nathaniel Sheridan seemed to delight in mercilessly teasing his sister as well as Nicola whenever he happened to see her, which fortunately was not often, since Nathaniel had been, up till recently, busy studying mathematics, in which he had in fact successfully gained a first at Oxford. But now, his degree secured, Nathaniel had been turned loose upon the world, and Nicola could not help feeling a bit sorry for it. The world, that is. Though she secretly suspected that Nathaniel's behaviour would not have been half so infuriating if he had not happened to be so very attractive. He was quite tall, and did happen to have a very charming smile, and the way his brown hair sometimes flopped into his eyes, hazel like his sister's, Nicola found disarming in the extreme. It was quite intolerable that so irritating a person could be so physically prepossessing. Nathaniel's disdain for poetry, however, was a very great failing. He had once even had the gall to call the brave and handsome Lochinvar "that great ass," a sin for which Nicola knew she could never forgive him. Eleanor's other brother, 10-year-old Philip, burst into the bedchamber also without bothering to knock. "Nat!" he cried excitedly. "You should see the phaeton that's just pulled round! Matching bays! 18 hands each if they're an inch!" "Mademoiselle?" All eyes turned to the doorway, where Nicola's maid Martine stood, holding on to her mistress's bonnet and parasol. "Begging your pardon, mademoiselle, but the Lady Farrelly sent me to fetch you. They are all waiting for you downstairs." "So those are Lord Farrelly's bays, then?" Philip said with a low, appreciative whistle. "Well, no wonder." "Lord Farrelly?" Nathaniel burst out, not very politely. "You're not going to stay with the Bartholomews, are you, Nicky?" "What if I am?" Nicola wanted to know, as she reached for the bonnet her maid held. "They are perfectly nice people." "Perfectly rich people, you mean?" Philip said. "Philip?" Lady Sheridan looked to be at the end of her patience with her children. "It is uncouth to comment upon the financial status of others." "And really, Phil," Eleanor said scornfully, "the idea of Nicky choosing to stay with the Bartholomews over us, simply because they happen to have more money than we do, is positively ridiculous. The fact is, she's in love with Lord Sebastian—" "Eleanor!" Nicola cried. But it was too late. The damage was done. "So that's who you were talking about when I walked in?" Nathaniel pushed some dark hair from his eyes and glared at Nicola. "Well, just so you know, Sebastian Bartholomew is nothing but an oarsman." Nicola, furious over hearing the god slighted, gasped. Anger, Madame, had always reminded her pupils, was unbecoming in a lady, and so Nicola struggled to contain her feelings, but she could not. They burst from her in a frothy torrent. "You should be ashamed of yourself saying things like that," Nicola cried. "You don't even know him." "I know him a good deal better than you do," Nathaniel replied. "He was in my same college at Oxford." "And?" Nicola demanded. "So what if he was an oarsman? I should think that's a good deal more exciting than what you were doing at Oxford." "Getting an education, you mean?" Nathaniel's laugh was humourless. "Yes, I should say Bartholomew had a more exciting time of it at Oxford than I did." Though she wasn't certain what he meant, Nicola felt another spurt of rage. How dare anyone speak disparagingly of the god? She stamped a slippered foot, declaring, "You make him sound like a wastrel." "You said it," Nathaniel retorted, "not me." "Don't pay any attention to him, Nicky," Eleanor said. "Lord Sebastian is a poetry lover like you. You know how Nat feels about poetry." "Nathaniel's feelings about poetry aside," Lady Sheridan said, stepping between her son and her daughter's friend, who stood almost nose to nose, glaring angrily at one another, "are you